Erev Tov. We're in Perek Yutes, Mesillas Yeshorim, in the subject of Ahava. Ahavas Hashem, love of Hashem. So just to recap what we did last time, first thing he says is that Ahava is an emotion, and even though that's what the word is, but sometimes people take it as an impossibility to love Hashem as a human emotion, so they take it to mean to act as if you love, but they don't really understand that it's an emotion. Mesillas Yeshorim goes out of his way to show that it's an emotion, and a person is responsible for his emotions. A person can develop an emotion, even though you might say a commandment to love somebody, to hate somebody. How could you generate an emotion? The answer is you could, because all the emotions are always based on your opinions. You have an idea about, so you have some kind of idea, and based on the idea, that's how the emotion is going to come out. So you have to get the right ideas into your head. You have to have the right opinions, the right deos, in order to evoke the right emotions. So there are mitzvahs of emotions. And this is not the only one. There are other mitzvahs of emotions also. After Masager, after Rachapamocha, the person is supposed to develop his emotions also. So he uses many, many words to describe this emotion of love. First of all, he says what love is, and we said last time that we can use this also to understand emotions between people, because that also needs developing. And the way he talks about it as a given, sometimes it's not such a given, and we have to learn from what he talks about Ahavas Hashem to go back to how to love people, and then we could learn further to Hashem. So he says that Ahava is that a person desires to become close to somebody. He's talking about Hashem, the way a person runs after something which is desired of him. So much so that he enjoys talking about him. He enjoys mentioning his name. He enjoys thinking about him. He enjoys reading his writings. Here we talk about Hashem, so it means that he enjoys mentioning Hashem's name. He enjoys talking to Hashem. He enjoys reading Hashem's Torah. He enjoys learning about Hashem. Everything that has to do with Hashem, he is excited about, because he wants that relationship. He wants that closeness. He brought the psukim. Let's say that some of the words over again. We started last time, but he talks about cheshek, taiva, shashua, oneg, teshuka, kemiha, sama nafshi, kolza nafshi. Definitely talking about an emotion over here. So a person could come to such an emotion towards Hashem also, not only to people, but the same emotion we have towards people, it's possible to develop towards Hashem. The issue that became the subject last week was the next paragraph, where he talks about the reason for having this love, the siba, the cause of this emotion. So he says there are two kinds of love. There's Ava Tluy B'Davar and Ava She'ena Tluy B'Davar. Ava Tluy B'Davar means that he loves something because of outside reasons. So here he gives an example why someone might love Hashem, because Hashem is so good to him, or that Hashem gives him wealth or success. So he loves Hashem because of that success. And we mentioned that some Rishonim do define Ahavas Hashem in this way. Ava Tluy B'Davar. They don't expect the person to be more than that. The reason why I love Hashem is because Hashem is so good to us. The Smag, when it says the mitzvah of Ahavas Hashem, there's a long list of things that a person is supposed to be grateful for and love Hashem for. And it definitely is true. No one's going to argue on that a person is supposed to think of all the good that Hashem does and love Him because of that. But the Mesillas Yeshorim is not satisfied. He says that's not enough. It has to go even further. It has to be Ahava she'ena tluy b'davar. It has to be independent love. And then it's going to be our subject tonight, then, to go further on in what does it mean Ahava she'ena tluy b'davar. So just to go back, before we go with that, just to get back to the Ahava tluy b'davar, just to elaborate a little bit. If a person likes money, that's not called that he loves Hashem. It means a person, if he loves Hashem because he gives him wealth, or because Hashem gives him health. If he just loves the wealth and the health, and he didn't build of that Ahavas Hashem, so then that's not called Ahavas Hashem at all. That's called he loves the health and the wealth. It's only when he says that Hashem is the one who gives me the health and the wealth, therefore I love Hashem. It has to be transferred, or not transferred. The word would be more that it goes back to its root. That the reason that I love Hashem is because He's so good to me. If He loves only the goodness, the same thing as we said by Yiras HaOnish. We said the same thing by fear of punishment. If somebody's only scared of the punishment, but not of the one who's punishing, it's not called Yiras HaOnish either. It's not called that he has an awe of the one who's able to punish. He just is scared of the stick. He has to be scared of the one who's wielding the stick. He has to build up from the onish that there is a ma'anish. Here too, when there's a person's going to love Hashem because of the good that he does for him, It's not enough that he just loves the good. That he didn't connect it to Hashem. He has to go back and say, Hashem is the one who's giving this to me. So the Avat Tui B'Davar is going to be that he loves Hashem because he's Meitiv, Mashiro, Meitiv, Matzliach Oso. That's called Avat Tui B'Davar. And according to some Rishonim, that will be enough. He reached what the Torah is calling for Ahavas Hashem. Mesillas Shalom says that it's not enough.
Same Krishna every day. That we like Hashem.
So what do you see over there? Over there it says you should. There's a command. You should love Hashem with all. So what do you see from there? Do you see the subject about Tui B'Davar or not? So it means that it's not because he's giving me the money. Over there, the pushback might go over there that you should love Hashem with all your being, but it doesn't say for what. For what? What's the basis of it? So someone might say that I love Hashem because of all the good that He does to me, and I love Him with all my life, with all my being. He's going to talk about this subject in a couple of lines. He'll bring this Chazal and he'll say something about it. But here the subject would be why does he love? The reason of his love. Okay. So one level is Avat Tui B'Davar, this dependent love. The reason why he loves Hashem is because of the good that He does to him. Now he's going to tell us there's something higher. There's something called the Ahavas She'en Tui B'Davar. So the word that he uses is supposed to be Ela Kavas Haben La'aviv She'ava Tibis Mamish She'tivu Mapricha B'Chofeu Lezeh Tamamir Akasav Halo Hu Avicha Kanecha. He says that the love that a person is supposed to have to Hashem is supposed to be like the love of a son to a father. That's a natural love that his nature forces him. As the pasuk says that Hashem is our father. Halo Hu Avicha Kanecha. Hashem is your father, your owner, your maker. So Hashem is called our father. So now it's the chiddush that a person loves his father not only because he's so good to him. So this opens the subject about the father-son relationship. Where is the love over there? So the Mesillas Shalom claims, maybe someone will argue, so I'll try to explain what he's saying, that the relationship of a father-son is not just because the father is good to the son. The reason of the relationship is because he's the biological father. Once I hear sometimes that in a degrading way, it's just the biological father. The biological father, that's the reason that he says there's a natural love. In other words, we'll get to soon the subject about that some children have difficulty with their parents and some parents have difficulty with their children. There's not such a natural love over there. So we'll get to that. But first he says that the reason why there should be a relationship between parents and children is because they are biologically related. That is the source of the relationship. Because they're one. That's the word. The word here is one. The word of Ahava, if we get to what the shorish of love is that people feel connected. There's a connection over here. So instead of feeling like two individuals, people that love each other, they feel like two halves of a whole. They feel that they're parts. They're only a half. And in order to be completed, they need the other half. That's the lashon of the Gemara. The Gemara says that a person is Eino Adam. Misha Ein Lo Isha Eino Adam. He has to have his other half. And people would have that relationship, so then they would feel this natural connection. That's called Alvatibis. So this father, that the child is a result of him, he bore him like he's the natural cause. He is the son is part of him, and the son feels that he's part of the father. That's the reason that he loves him. Before any good doing, before any beneficiary, he didn't do anything. Just he knows that this is his father. That means it's me. The same way as when a person loves himself. You ask a person, why do you love yourself? Any reason that you do good to yourself? Why do you have a curse of tov to yourself? No, I am myself. I love myself because I am myself. If a person doesn't love himself, so then he has to. He needs help. Sometimes a person is angry at himself. That doesn't mean he doesn't love himself. On the contrary, because he loves himself so much, that's why he's angry at himself. How could I have done such a thing? Because he does love himself. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't care about himself. Like he doesn't love. He's connected. He's connected to himself. He is himself.
It's an Ahavas Tului B'Davar.
That's not Tului B'Davar. When a person loves himself because he's himself, that's not called Tului B'Davar. That's because I am myself. So when a person realizes that he's not only himself, there's another half. He's only a half, and he loves the other one because they're naturally connected. A father and a son, parents and children, that they're one. That's him. They're inherently one because they are made of the same stuff. So then, that is a natural love. Before anybody did anything good for each other, no goodness yet. Just the fact that he's his biological father. That's the reason why he should love him.
The man and the woman are half of each.
Right. So you might ask. Right. So you might ask that's you already said the answer already. The question would be that by parents and children we see that they're a result, they're a natural result. But by a husband and a wife, where do you see this natural love? Where does that come from? So the Ramban in the Torah, when it talks about the Adam and Chava, so he says that the reason why Hashem made woman, that Hashem made Chava out of Adam was for this purpose, that there should be not two separate beings that just happen to have something live in the same house, but they are inherently connected. So he says that teva, that nature that Hashem made in the first man and wife, that goes on to all generations, that the husband and wife, that the relationship to a wife and husband is even more than that to the parents. Because of that way that Hashem made, and he says that animals don't have that. Animals weren't created, the females weren't created out of the males. Only by man it was like that, to have that natural connection, that they have two halves. And it's even a bigger connection than the parent-child. It's the husband-wife. Husband-wife is a bigger connection than that. So that's the definition of Ahava Tivus, a natural love. If that's agreed upon, so then the question comes in about when there are complaints and there are timeless, and you don't always see that the parent-child relationship is always 100%. So where does that come from? The reason, I think, that we can explain it, that if you ask a child sometimes who has problems with his parents, why don't you love your parents? So I think it's never going to happen that he's going to say, like, why should I? Like, there's no connection. Like, why should I? That's not going to be the answer. Usually it's going to come with a lot of bitterness and all kinds of whole list of kindness that he has. My father did this to me, and he did this to me, and he never understood me, and he forced me to do this, and he always had his own interest in mind. He's going to come with a whole list. But you never find the child's going to say, why should I? Like, no, I don't know him. Like, nothing to do with him. Like the neighbor, I don't have anything to do with him. So you won't find that. Why? Because of this yisod, because of this principle that there is a natural love. Before anybody did anything good, before he did him any favors, for no reason, on default, he should really be loving him. If he couldn't, let's say the example would be, the way this would be shown would be in a case where the father was not able to do any good. He was not able to benefit the child. He didn't have the means. During the Holocaust, if a person is he has no money at all, whatever, he's unable, so then the child wouldn't have any kindness, he wouldn't have any complaints against the parent, and the love would be there 100%. The love would be there, the same level as if the parent would be giving him, the same love would be there, because that's the natural relationship, that we're one. The only time that it starts is when one side, they are betraying the relationship. Means if a father would only have his own interest in mind and he doesn't care about the son, so then, and the son feels it, so then it's a betrayal. He's a bogey. He's a traitor. Like, there's a relationship here, and you're acting against the relationship. That's where all the complaints start. Or the father has complaints against the son that you're not acting like a son. It all starts not from the relationship. The relationship is not only built on the favors that they do for each other. It's built on the natural oneness. The problems only start when people don't act on that basis. They don't act the way they would about somebody who has such a relationship. But the showmanship of the relationship is not the klui b'davar. It's not the dependence on some good that the father does to the child or the child does to the parents, but because they're actually one. I never had known this before I learned the Mesillas Yeshorim, but it's so clear after he says it, that the basis of the relationship is because of the naturally one. And here he says, a big chiddush, if everyone's happy with that, if everybody has any complaints, any machlokas, a different idea. But I think after he says it, it's very clear, and it makes a lot of sense. Everybody would agree. So if that's accepted on a human level, so now he tells us that he's supposed to love Hashem the same way. That's a huge chiddush. He's supposed to love Hashem as he'd love a father. And the question would arise, is Hashem our father? It's not Hashem our maker, but is Hashem our father? Means the way the fruit is born of the tree and the son is born of the father, is Am Yisrael, is man born of Hashem? Of course not. Hashem and the Creator has no connection, is no similarity to the created. And here he says that we are. He says that there's a natural, how would you call it? Kesher, natural connection between the creation and the Creator. So there's something deep over here, but of course, we know, as I mentioned many times, that not to think that a man has any godliness in him, or that God is man, all that is like apikorsis, and I'm not supposed to enter such a thought that anything of the neshama is godly. The neshama, you can call it godly, but not God. It's not God. And it's a creation. The neshama is a creation, and we said every morning, you created the neshama. So the neshama is not God. The neshama is a creation. Even though some people make that mistake, it's clearly apikorsis that a person should think that the neshama is God. And el doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that it's a part of God. So here he says that even though man is not God, but he's considered a natural result of God. And that the Mesillas Shalom says over here, and says in other places also, without going deeply into it, it's what to talk, but it will be out of the scope of this limud. But it's in a sefer called Mamar HaChachma that Ramchal talks about this, and he says that Hashem made it in a way that the neshama is a natural result of his hashpah to create. Hashem has a hashpah of kedusha that he emanates from himself, and a natural result of that is man. But not that it's the same type, not that it's God. Definitely that distinction you must always have in mind. But to say, by this point that he wants us to know that as far as we're concerned, the relationship is the same as a son would have to a father. So even without understanding it, we're just taking the word of Ramchal now, and the pasuk says, he is your father. So the relationship to Hashem is as a father, and we can have that emotion, the emotion of love, not because Tluy V'davar, not because Hashem is so good to us. We could develop that to Hashem because it's a fact, because we are a natural result of Hashem's hashpah. That's how the Mesillas Shalom wants us to understand an independent love. It's not dependent on anything. It's independent, not dependent on the fact that Hashem is good to us. Everyone's happy with that? A big kedusha. Just to jump a second, and we'll come back, we'll continue. But later on in Perek Chaf Aleph, he talks about the way to acquire this love, the kinyanim. Like each midah, he always tells us what it is, and the halakim, and the kinyanim, and the mafsidim. So there, I just will jump for a second. He says over there, the way to acquire this love. How do you get the love of Hashem? So he says, he starts talking in a way that might be misleading, and it sounds like it is Tluy B'davar, but right away, at the end, the whole thing is 5 lines, in the beginning of Perek Chaf Aleph, chapter 21. So he says a few words, and he says, again, the same point he's saying over here, even though in the beginning it sounds like he's not, but we'll just read it. Over there it says, how does a person acquire Ahavas Hashem? So in the beginning of chapter 21, so the first couple of lines is how to get Yira. And then in the 5th line, Uvizbonuno, al rov chasad avimanu, val god al avos Yisrael Yisrael, val kivas Yeshorim Lord, umal lasal Torah mitzvahs, v'chayotze min hayunim avalimudim. When a person contemplates on the abundance of God's kindnesses to us, and His great love to Am Yisrael, and how He brings the tzaddikim, the Yeshorim, the upright people, He brings them close to Him, and how wonderful the Torah and the mitzvahs are, and other similar studies. When he contemplates about all these things, what's going to happen? It's going to be inflamed in him a burning love, a great love. So far it sounds like it's Tluy B'davar. It tells you all these good things that Hashem does for us. So it sounds like he's aiming towards getting a dependent love. Because Hashem is so good to us. There's so many kindness, and He loves us, and He brings us close, and He gave us Torah and mitzvahs. So it sounds like we should love Him because of those good things. But he continues, he doesn't say that. He says he's going to choose and desire to cling to Him because when he sees that Hashem is to us a Father Mamish, Kibiroso, Shaboris Baruch Hu Lanu La'av Mamish, Hashem is an actual Father, Av Mamish, he says the word Av Mamish, and He has compassion upon us like a father to his children. When he sees that Hashem is acting to us as a father acts to a son, Mamish, Kibav Mamish, so he's going to automatically be aroused to reciprocate and to have the desire to do as a son would do to a father. So he says the way to acquire this love of Hashem does go by contemplating on Hashem's goodness to us. But not that Hashem is good to us and therefore I love Him because of His goodness. But I see that He's a Father. All these goodnesses show me that this is a Father. Only a Father does these things. The fact that Hashem is so good to us, in all of these ways, it shows us that He's acting to us as a father acts to a son. So I'm going to naturally be aroused to reciprocate and act as a son does to a father. So again, he says that the shoresh of the Ava is going to be that there's a natural connection, there's a natural oneness which could evoke this emotion of love, which is this desire to become close to the one who's part of you, or you're part of. And the way to get to that is to contemplate on all the ways that Hashem is acting to us as a father. But the shoresh again is that He's a father. So a person can take the same limudim and not to get to this maskana, just that Hashem does so many good things to us, so I love Him because of that. But he didn't come to the maskana about the father-son connection. So he missed the point. Then he only come to the level of Avat Tluy V'davar, to dependent love. But he wants you to take it a step further. He wants you to learn from all of these lessons, that all of these messages that Hashem is telling us, that it's your Father speaking. And the one who's doing all this is your Father. Once you realize that, then we'll also have that love and desire to get close to Hashem as a son would to a father. I think it's a big tradition even for human relationships also. that people learn what a relationship is. He's telling us what the shorish is. We can take this and first develop it on a human level, then bring it up to Hashem also.
Yeah, we do Torah and mitzvahs as part of a cloud, where we follow the things we do. We put on tzitzis, we put on tefillin, we eat kosher. We're a community doing. So we do that. How do we get that connection from doing these mitzvahs, understanding that we understand Hashem mandated the Jewish people to do this. We do it because we are part of the Jewish community. But why? How do we translate that to a personal appreciation or a love?
Shema says it.
Just to get, if I'm getting the question clear, there's a klal and there's a prat. Am Yisrael is a nation and on a whole, and each person is part of that whole. He's also an individual. Everything that a person gains, there are things to gain on an individual level, there's a thing to gain on a national level. The relationship to Hashem is a personal relationship that each person has to Hashem, and is also part of Am Yisrael, and the whole nation is related to Hashem. So where's the difficulty? They're all there. A person has a relationship to Hashem on an individual level, and also as being part of Am Yisrael.
How are we supposed to understand that? Because we were given mitzvahs that we have a father-son relationship.
He gives that as an example of all the goodness that Hashem gives us. If we would see how Hashem, he doesn't tell us what they are over there, but if a person would see what Torah and mitzvahs are, which probably he's referring to Derech Hashem, over there he explains what all the mitzvahs are, what does it mean tefillin, what does it mean tzitzis, those examples that you gave. If we would see the benefit of all the mitzvahs that Hashem gave us, we'll see how much Hashem loves us. He doesn't go into detail how we're supposed to learn from there. He just says all the kindness that Hashem does, that we understand. He doesn't mention over there either what other kindness is. So a person has to open up a book of anatomy and figure out what Hashem gave him, and he'll talk about the digestive system. But he didn't give you all the instruction. He just said each person should have been. It's like an instruction book. He says study the kindness that Hashem does to us. That now you have a library to go to and figure it out. Then he talks about the Mesillas of Torah mitzvahs. So he also didn't tell you what it is. So he's telling us to go study it. I think as a friend to say for Derech Hashem over there, he'll explain to us what the benefit of all the mitzvahs are, which will be coming soon in the other limba that we have. So he didn't explain it over here, but he said when a person realizes how valuable the Torah and mitzvahs are, he sees how Hashem loves us so much. You want to say something?
I mean, if you just follow the Kriya Shema, v'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, v'hoya im shemoya tishmu t'sai she'anech nitzav eschem u'li'ahava es Hashem Elokecha u'li'avda b'chol levav v'chol nafshem v'nasati b'tarat lechem. In other words, it's all according to the Kriya Shema. If you follow, it's sort of talui also in understanding Hashem and loving Hashem is keeping the mitzvahs, understanding that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us those mitzvahs as a way for us to connect to Him and in order to receive the reward from Him.
But a person might take Kriya Shema superficially, and it says if you do the mitzvahs, I'll give you reward. But you don't see Mesillas mitzvahs. Over there, Mesillas says you see the benefit of the quality of the mitzvahs, what a mitzvah is. So in Kriya Shema, you don't see it so much over there because it just says that if you do the mitzvah, I'll pay you reward. You'll have rain and you'll be able to eat.
But it doesn't say that. It says if you listen,
I'll give you
and
rain.
you love Hashem.
That's over there. That's one of the mitzvahs you'll call it. If you listen to the mitzvah that I say to love Hashem and to serve Him with all your heart, I'll give you rain and you'll have what to eat. So they're just saying that I commanded you. If you listen to the commandments, there's going to be a reward. But you're not seeing the value of the mitzvahs for themselves. You don't see them per se. You don't see what the mitzvahs are, the value of the mitzvahs. Just Hashem says He's going to pay reward. But there's a study to learn what the value of how precious the mitzvahs are. The depth is going to be what He says at the beginning of Mesillas that it brings us closer to Hashem. There are ways of connecting. Hashem is giving us the ultimate good that's possible for any creation to have. So once we have that opening sentence, that means that...
It's mashma that without the mitzvahs, a person won't really be able to come to love Hashem.
How do you see that in the words? I see you won't be able to connect to Hashem, but do you see you won't be able to love Hashem? The pasuk over there is saying you should love Hashem with all your heart. It doesn't say why. It doesn't say over there in the pasuk why you should love Hashem. But on why? For which basis? Based on why should I love Hashem? So Mesillas is telling us because He's our Father. That's what He wants to drive in. If someone's going to love Hashem on the first level, you can say not bad. You're not saying that it's a avera. But he's saying, no, it's not. But it's not. He loves Hashem, Ava Tluy B'Dover. But the Mesillas Shalom says that's not enough. It's not all that Hashem is asking for. There's a higher level. Ahavas Hashem has different levels. The same way Yiras Hashem has different levels. There's going to be Yiras HaOnesh, which means he loves Hashem because he realizes that the Schar HaOnesh is totally in his hand. And then there's Yiras HaRomamos, and he realizes Hashem's exaltedness. And then there's Yiras HaChet coming up later on. It's the third level of Yira. So in Ahavas are going to be also different levels. One level is going to be Ahavas HaSchar, but not that he just loves the reward. He loves Hashem because he gives good things. And then there's a higher level that he loves Hashem because he realizes that he's naturally connected. And that's a very big chiddush, I think, and he's explaining it to us that that's the level that we're supposed to come to, if we could. So he continues now that the way to discern this love, the person wants to know, did he reach that level? Did he reach the level of loving Hashem in the Tluy B'Dover, not a dependent love? So he says the way to test that, the mifchan, the word mifchan nowadays used as a test, the test. The way to discern this love is when the person has troubles, which is simple. If the only reason why a person loves Hashem is because he's having it good, so when he's not having it good, so he doesn't have that Tluy B'Dover. He doesn't have that dependence. If the only reason why he loves Hashem is because Hashem is being good to him, and right now Hashem is not being good to him, he doesn't see the goodness, so he doesn't have that Tluy B'Dover, he doesn't have that Tlut, he doesn't have that dependence. So now he sees, do I still love Hashem? Means, let's say the example we said, when a father is not, I'll make the example a bit inaccurate in order to get to the point. Let's say the father is not able to do good to the son. The father is not able to do good to the son. Whatever the case would be, he lost his money, he's in prison, whatever the case would be, he doesn't have the ability to be good, to give anything good to his son. Does the son still love him? Does the son love him? So here the son has a test for himself. If he only loves the son, the father, Avat Tluy B'Dover, because Meituvelo, Mashiro, Masliach, because the father's good to me. So you could have love him still because of the past. But if you erase the past right now, just to have a reason to love my father. So he'll say, I don't benefit from him. He's not benefiting me. So I don't have a reason to love him. But if he sees that he loves him, even so, then he realizes that the reason why he loves Hashem, why he loves his father, is not because Tluy B'Dover, not because of the dependence on an outside factor, but because this is my father, and I love my father because he's my father. That's the mifchan. That's the test. The reason why I use an example where the father is not able to benefit the child is because if he's able to and he doesn't, then there's a different emotion that's aroused. Why is he not doing good to me? He could do good for me, and he's not. It means he's not acting like a father. Then that's a different subject. But first, just to get the point that the mifchan, the way to discern if it's a Tluy B'Dover and a Tluy B'Dover, if it's dependent or not dependent, is when there's no dependent. There's no thing to depend on. It's not coming. It's not coming forward. The check is not coming in the mail. It's not coming. Say if he only loves his father because he sends him a check, and now there's no check, so he doesn't have reason to love him. But if he loves him anyway, that means that he loves him because he's his father. If the check comes is good. The check doesn't come is also good as far. If he has other problems, if the check doesn't come. In fact, he doesn't have to pay the bills. But he doesn't have a problem with the love of the father. He loves the father because he's his father. That's the way to discern what kind of love it is. So he wants to say the same thing would be by Hashem, that when the check is not coming, and he still loves Hashem, so he sees that he loves Hashem because of the natural love, not because it's dependent. The question arises, the Mesillas Hashem doesn't say, but the question would arise that Hashem is always able. But the father, we can talk about a case where the father's not able. He lost his money, he's in prison, whatever, he's sick, whatever the case would be, he doesn't have the ability anymore. So then the son talks about those things. Do I still have reason to love my father? Sure, he's my father. Why he doesn't have any money right now, he doesn't have any way to benefit me? Okay, that's not the subject. The subject is that we're one. But if the father has the ability to give good and doesn't give good, so then the son is thinking, why is he not being good to me? He's betraying me. He's not acting as a father would act to a son. Which we said before, that's the reason people usually have difficulties, parent-children, child relationship. So that the Mesillas Shalom doesn't bring into the issue. He doesn't bring that as an issue. He just says that the mifchan ha'avazos is when there's difficulty, because he doesn't have that dependence. But he doesn't point out that there's a kasha that's arousing and stirring the person. Hashem's not being good to me, so he's not acting to me as a father. That is not the subject of the Mesillas Hashem. So we have to do it on our own, and we have to realize that the Mesillas Hashem doesn't say, but the point that we should have gotten already is that Hashem is always, he realized always that Hashem didn't betray him. He realizes that Hashem didn't betray him. That's not That's not the subject that the Mesillas Rabbi is addressing. A person who knows Hashem, he realizes that Hashem didn't betray him. The whole issue is that he wants to see if he has his love, his desire, all these words he uses about his cheshek and shuka, shashul, he's all excited about Hashem. So then he sees, is that only based because he's getting good? Or even if he's not getting good, there we can see that if he's still excited about Hashem, even if he's not getting anything, then it's ein tluy b'dava. But we're not discussing the aspect that he has kindness on Hashem. Why is Hashem not giving good to me? We're talking about a person who understands that Hashem never betrays him, and there's a reason for it. That's not the subject. If everyone's okay with that, we can go further. I'm saying it. I'm trying to answer questions as we go along. But if everyone's happy with the answers that are coming forward, so it'll flow. וכן אמרו זכרם לברכה, ואהבת השם אלוקיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך, אפילו לא תלס נפשך, בכל מאמדיך ובכל ממונך. Chazal say a person should love Hashem with all your heart, with all your life, even if He takes your life. So there, the point of the Gemara is not talking about that Hashem, like Hashem is taking your life. That's not the point of the Gemara. The Gemara says that even when a person is dying, and he doesn't have anything now that he's thanking Hashem for, but he loves Hashem anyway. That's the point he wants. He's not talking about the fact over there. The Gemara says a person should give his life. He's giving his life, not that Hashem is taking his life. But the point is, he should love Hashem even when he's not getting any outside benefit. There's Ahavas tluy b'davar, Ahavas she'eino tluy b'davar. There's love that is dependent on an outside factor, that Hashem is being good to him, and then you have the love that's not because of that, independent. But he's not relating to the point that why is Hashem not giving it to me? That's not the concept a person has here. Put that on the side, and we're talking about a person who realizes that Hashem didn't betray him. But the next two paragraphs is going to address, even the person knows that Hashem didn't betray him, but there's nothing that makes it a vibrant love. All these words used before about he's thirsty for Hashem, the enjoyment, the pleasure, the craving, the desire, all that, when a person has difficulty, it's hard to arouse all of those emotions. He has no kindness, but you want to talk about a vibrant relationship and feeling this love, that's difficult. When things are going well, and we'll call it chizukin, there's ways that he sees, like we said in the Parak Aleph over there, that it says that Hashem is showing you that He's your Father. So then there's encouragement that Hashem is showing you the whole time that He's your Father. But when you don't have that, when that's not coming forth, for whatever reason, the Father didn't betray him. But there's nothing positive. There's nothing positive over there that's able to express to him that Hashem is his Father. That a person should still be excited about it, that's difficult. He's going to address now that question. The question he's going to address now is how does a person arouse these positive, vibrant energy, that's a good word. Where does he get energy to be a very positive love even when things are not going well? Not because he feels Hashem betrayed him. That's not the subject. I hope I'm putting it aside enough. The subject is that even though Hashem didn't betray him, but there's nothing positive that gives him energy to be an active, vibrant craving for Hashem. That's what he's going to discuss.
The Son.
The Son. Am Yisrael, the Son, and Hashem is the Father, and the Father right now is not able to, by a human will say he's not able to, or it's not forthcoming for some reason that he doesn't know, but even though he doesn't feel betrayed, but the relationship is, nothing's there to energize him. And he's looking for ways how a person should be able to overcome this dullness, so to speak, and find reason to be energized in the love of Hashem, even when there's no good coming forth. He's having difficulty in life. So that's the subject.
The difficulty is coming from him, or it could be that even in his mind it's coming from the Father, let's say in a regular, forget about Hashem.
In a human relationship, so then the question would be that in the case where the Father is not giving him any, you might even say it might be difficult outside difficult.
Uses, I think I once heard him say that he once saw a guy standing on a street corner in a suit, a businessman, and he was talking to a drunk. And the drunk wasn't paying attention to him. He was like completely out of it. And when he got closer, he realized that the guy in the suit was asking his father for advice. The drunk was his father.
The drunk was his father.
Yeah.
What do you want to bring out of that story? It wouldn't be smart to ask a father advice when he's
Right, but he said the natural tendency of a child is to go to the father. And here you see the father is not capable of doing anything for him.
But over there, it will be an emotion that's overcoming the rationale, because the rationale would say it's not the right time to ask him advice. But you see that the emotion over there was that he looked up to him, he respected him over there, but that's not love.
But here it's not respective, and he said he said the natural. What he was saying in that sikha was that the natural tendency to a child is to turn to the father, even if the father is a drunk.
But that wouldn't be a love. That would be more. It won't be that he's turning to him for advice. Means he's turning to him because he considers him a wise man and he respects him. He's ma'arich. He appreciates his wisdom. But that wouldn't be the point of love. The point of love would, if you talk about Ava and Yira, that would be under the subject of Yira. That he's ma'arich. He appreciates his wisdom, and he should know that right now he can't appreciate his wisdom because right now he's not acting out of wisdom. Right now he's drunk. But love is the connection, the feeling of this oneness, that they're one. They have a natural oneness. So I would think that would be a subject of haracha, appreciation, and not love. That's another thing. But it's a beautiful story. That
Just so I remember.
So here, the point I also heard from you is that you're talking about if there's a dochak, if there's some outside, even if there's outside difficulty, is he able to, does that interfere with his love for Hashem? If the person has outside difficulties, not because he's really saying Hashem is not doing it, he's not blaming it on Hashem. Of course everything is from Hashem, but he's not blaming it on Hashem. Is that also is that also an impediment for his love to Hashem? He's talking about a person who has difficulties, and it's difficult for him to arouse energy to love Hashem. And he's going to try to give 2 answers for this person. How to arouse love for Hashem even when things are not going well. In order that all of his troubles and problems shouldn't be a difficult and an impediment for his love to Hashem, a person should say to himself 2 answers. Because when a person has difficulties and he wants to arouse love to Hashem, he gives 2 answers. One is for everybody, and one is for deeply wise men. One is for everybody. Everybody could realize the first one. It's also a pretty high level. But he says everyone can do it. And the other one is for Chachamim Baalei Dei Amuka, for wise, deep knowledge. The first one is that even though we don't realize that the difficulty is good, the difficulty itself is also for the good. That's the point that is known as Kol Ma'adav Rachmana L'Tavav. Achasi Kol Ma'adav Nishma L'Tav. Everything they do from heaven is for good. That's saying that even though it seems as a problem, superficially a problem is happening, but you should realize that the problem is also good. So there's energy over there. It isn't only dull. That he finds, even in the problem, he finds that the problem is also for his good. So he turns that problem into an energy, that Hashem is showing me love. Hashem is showing me a reason that I should love him. Even if it's Tluy B'Davar, it could be that he's not going to make it. He already said that this is if we're talking about a person who already has been discerned as a person who loves Hashem independently, that he has difficulty to arouse this love. If he's a person whose whole love is only based on the good, this is not going to help him. This is already a bit advanced. But a person who loves Hashem not because of an outside factor, but this is an impediment, and he wants to arouse, how can I get energy to love Hashem with all of that chukka, onek, shashua? So he realizes that the difficulty also is a goodness. Even that trouble and difficulty, which seems bad, seems evil, it's really a true good. Almost like the doctor was amputating a limb in order to save the whole man, that he shouldn't die. Even though it seems to be a cruel act that he's amputating a leg, but it's really a true compassion to benefit him on the long run. And the patient is not going to hate the doctor because he did it. On the contrary, he's going to have reason to love him, that he saved his life. Also is going to, on the contrary, he's going to increase the love. He's going to appreciate, be happy about it. That he has difficulty in the fact that he lost a leg, but he's going to thank the doctor and appreciate the doctor and love the doctor. I mean, he'll love him if he did it for free, but I don't know if he's going to love him. But let's say he did it for free, so he did him an act of kindness, even though it looks like a cruel act. So too, when a person is having difficulty, if he realizes that the difficulty is just for his own good, so on the contrary, not only would it not be an impediment for his love, it's going to be a catalyst for his love. When a person realizes everything Hashem is doing to him is for his own good, either it's on his body or his money, he doesn't realize and understand how it's for his good, but he knows definitely it's for his good. It's not going to be weakened. His love for Hashem is not going to be weakened because of that trouble. On the contrary, it's going to be strengthened. He's going to strengthen his love because he sees that Hashem is taking care of him. That's the first thing that he calls Shalom L'chol Nefesh. That's for everybody. Everybody can understand this idea that everything Hashem is doing is for our good, and therefore, if it's Abba Shein Tluy B'Davar, if it's an independent love, this is the difficulty that Hashem is not. He doesn't see any reason to love Hashem right now. On a vibrant, active, he doesn't see Hashem as acting as a father. To put it that way. So if he realizes this, he'll say no. On the contrary, the Father Hashem is acting as a father.
Where's free will here? So someone becomes an alcoholic. Hashem is not doing that.
So not everything Hashem does. You're right. That this issue of Hashem doing things to us, sometimes people misinterpret and they say, why did Hashem do all this to me? So Hashem says, I didn't do anything to you. You did it to yourself. That's true. We're not saying that everything is from heaven. We're saying all that's done from heaven is for good. All that called the other dimension Shemaya all the top. Everything done from heaven is for good. But there are many things that people do to themselves. As you said, he becomes an alcoholic, he takes drugs, he gets into a lot of trouble, and then he comes to Hashem, why did you do this to me? Hashem says, my son, I didn't do it to you, you did it to yourself. That's true. The whole subject here is talking about when a person is analyzing the things that Hashem is doing to him, Hashem's relationship to him. If he has his own problems, he has to take care of them. He has to take care of his problems.
I don't have problems, I have opportunities.
That's the next one. You're on the second level. That's the second level. The first level was that even the things that seem difficulties, this is what it says, the Chachamim Bali Dei Amuka, you're holding by the wise, deep knowledge. The first one was for everybody. The one for everybody is that even the thing that seems difficult is really a goodness, that Hashem is doing for him a goodness. Even when he gives him troubles, it's for his own good. And therefore there'll be a reason to love Hashem for that also. It's like the son that is a little smart, and even the father is punishing him, but he realizes the father's doing it because he wants him to have it good. So he appreciates the father, he loves the father even for that. And a smart child will do that, he will realize that. He realized that the father, even when he's punishing the child realized that the father loves him. And he's going to have more reason to love him even. It's a very smart child. But he calls that the Shalom L'chol Nefesh. The next one, but those who have the true knowledge, before he called it a deep knowledge, they don't even need that. That's the word tachlisam. Some have tefillah, but it's a mistake. It should be tachlisam. The people who are on the high level of Ahavas Hashem, their whole motivation and their interest is that they love Hashem so much that they want to give him pleasure and they want to give honor to his name because they love him so much. So therefore, even when they have no catalyst to give energy, and it's more difficult to arouse this emotion of love to Hashem, they're happier because they have opportunity, that's the word you use, the opportunity, to show Hashem that they love him even under such circumstances. This will be the case, like he says, he gives a mashal right away, that when a person, every person who loves somebody, they wait for the opportunity to be able to prove their love. How much I love you, even so much. It's under this difficult situation, and let's say I'm just giving an example out of the hat that someone knows that his wife would like something, and he doesn't have the money for it right now. He can't afford it, but he goes out of his way. He works extra hours in order to be able to buy that present for his wife to make her happy. If he had the money for it, then it wouldn't so as much as if he has difficulty and he has to go out of his way and he traveled far to get it, and so he's happy for the opportunity to be able to prove to the other one how much that he loves her. So the same thing, that when it's not so easy to love because of all the difficulties that he's having, so it's hard to arouse the emotions that he has deep inside. He loves Hashem. He loves Hashem because of this oneness that he realizes is a natural connection. But the fact that he's having it so difficult, so it's hard to arouse that emotion. So the fact that it's difficult, that's what he's happy about. He's happy for the opportunity to be able to prove to Hashem, so to speak, that I love you so much that even when it's difficult to arouse those emotions, I still do it. It shows more the depth of the love. And he gives a mashal, the more difficult it is, that they have to use more strength in order to overcome that difficulty, he's happy to show how strong that love is, how loyal that love is. And he gives a mashal of a general, like a great general who's Rashum would be the word like outstanding. In his strength, in his courage. He always picks the most difficult battle. The Haros Takbov in his chona to show how his strength, that he's able to be victorious even in a difficult situation. He looks for the challenges. The same thing is always ready by all natural people, even people, humans, who love each other, by human love. He's happy at the opportunity to show to the beloved how much he loves. A person is happy to show the one who he loves how much he loves. That even under such a difficulty, I still love. So this point here by Hashem, again, the whole thing is not talking about that Hashem betrayed us. Then it's not a point that I love Hashem. That's not the point. The point is that even though I don't have any impetus, any encouragement, any catalyst to evoke this emotion, I'm happy that I'm able to show Hashem that I love Him even without all the encouragement. I don't have all of these Ezra and handicaps. I don't have any help to give me the reason, the emotion of love. And I'm able to evoke it. Even so, I love you so much. I love you so much that even without any outside help, I'm able to get that emotion out of my inner self to be able to express it. That's the deeper level of the Chachamim, that he realized that that's an opportunity. So the first point was that he realized that even the difficulty is also that Hashem is actually being good to him, and that's the reason to get excited about Hashem's relationship. And the second point is that even if it's difficult, he's happy for the difficulty, because it's an opportunity to show Hashem he loves him even under such circumstances. That should come happen.